Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to go through different ways that we can analyze different parts of this graph. This is going to be in combination with an ABC. That's kind of review about domain, range, and functions, as well as teaching a little bit more things that we weren't able to get to in class. So with that, I'm not going to answer all of these questions, but I will answer most of them. The first thing is the viewing rectangle. I don't really ask this, but it's very visually obvious that the rightmost of the graph goes -7 and just to about +7. So your x min would be -7, +7. This is something that we could do in our calculator, as well as our x scale being 1. Our y min is approximately at -5, and our y max is approximately at 6. So -6 to 5 with a count of 1. Now our x-intercepts here, we need to look at our x-axis, and I'm going to bring up my highlighter. We're going to do our best to guesstimate these, seeing as they are not at lattice points where they intersect. So a little bit more than -5, so let's say -5.2, 0 is our first. The other one is a little bit right before -1, so we can say -0.8, 0. Y-intercepts. Now here's an important part here. Just because I have a coordinate here and a coordinate here doesn't mean that both of these are going to count. One of those is an open circle, so my y-intercept is going to be 0, 6, and that's it. I do not count the open circle like we don't count any of these. Is this a function? So we had the vertical line test before, and yes, it passes, so it's a function. My domain, you can see, is -6 all the way to 5, including both numbers. And my range, again, even though I have an open circle here, I do have a closed circle that matches it on the other side of the parabola. So my range goes from -4, yeah, there it is, up to 6, both bracketed. Now, what does f of x mean? Well, f of x just means that we are looking for the function at f of x equals 0, which is our y-axis. So these are the same as the x-intercepts. So we don't need much more there. Where is f of x greater than 0? So if I think of my line, x-axis, as sort of my dividing point, we can see that these portions of the graph are larger than 0. Now it does want us to state in x interval notation. This is not something I'm going to ask you to do for a test or a quiz anytime soon, but it wouldn't be bad for us to realize that the interval is -5.2 up to -0.8. Then to include a second interval, we use that union symbol, and then we can say it is on the interval of 0 to 5. And then where is it less than 0? Well, that would be everything below the graph. And so one of the common things that we like to, remind people of is the fact that the interval, oh, wrong pen, is -infinity up to that 5.2. And then it picks up at -0.8. Now here's the weird, annoying part. Because this is an open circle in the context of this question, we have to say it is not including that 0, because it doesn't actually hit there, even though that coordinate itself is stopping there. Actually, that just made me realize something. This coordinate right here is actually not supposed to be all the way to -infinity. Whoops, didn't quite see that there. Didn't realize it stopped there. -6 to -5.2. All right, so here's the real information. How to find f of 2. So if I need to find something like f of 2, I'm going to get rid of all this information on here. It's not relevant. That's just a little bit of review on domain and range. This is important to make sure you know how to read your graph. This is that x coordinate that we talk about with function operations and composition. So here's 2. If I look up and down, my graph is right here. So that means the function is actually evaluated at 4 in this case. And at -5, I get -1. So you can see right there, in order to read the graph, we're going to work from the x-axis up to the function. I'm going to skip number 12, and now we can look at 13, where it says, where does f of x equal 4? So if I was to draw a line through 4, we can see that the graph hits it here, here, and here. So there are 3 x coordinates that would work. -4, -2, +2. And where does the function hit -5? It's a little bit off there. Let's redraw that. That's a little bit better. This is the only closed circle. I can't use this because it's an open circle. So the only coordinate that would hit it is at -6. Okay, I'm going to skip those next few questions here, 15, 16, and let's talk about mins and maxes real quick. This is just a little introduction. Just be helpful for you to know what we talk about when we say min and max. So absolute max is just the highest point the graph can go. So the highest point is right there at 0, 6. Your absolute min is the lowest the graph can go. And again, since we have competition with the open and closed circle, I have to pick the closed circle. And so that would be -6, -5. Now, what it means relative max. Every absolute is a relative, so we already have one. But the real question is there any other part on the graph that's larger than its little regions? And that would be right here, because if I just kind of think about visually looking at this portion of the graph as a whole, that is the largest part of that graph, and I can't find another one that would continue later on. So we can say that coordinate point, the vertex of that parabola, being -3, 5. And likewise, this is kind of a very difficult thing to grasp right at this moment, but relative min is all of our absolutes, so we already have those. But right here, technically, if I look at this region of the graph, there is no portion of the graph that's going below this, nor is it going to appear to go below it at any point. So we're going to state that point, 5, 1, as another minimum. Okay, so that's everything for this video. You can now do the delta math to help, and let me know if you have any questions. See ya.